Hello everyone, this is a very random video, so I actually took the handphone using my hand, so there's no stand, so you will see it is a bit shaky, I guess so. And also, why is it a random video? Because I want to share about sensory overload before I sleep, which I occasionally will get this issue. It's not like every day, so I don't call it often or very frequent, but in fact it is rather frequent in the sense that I may have this like once per week or twice, sorry, not twice, it's like once per week or one time per 2 weeks. It's like bi-weekly, and especially obvious when I have my periods and after my period. So what happened was I had sensory overload before I sleep. Firstly, because of my period, I just ended. I mean, the period just ended. Actually, it's not ended yet. It's like almost ended. And I always have this issue when the period is about to end, where I have the issue of indigestion, a little bit of indigestion, and also constipation. I guess it's due to hormonal change. This is what I researched using Google, that because of some hormone changes, it will actually cause all these things to happen. And I would say that perhaps it also happens to other people, where if you think that I purposely put this context into autistic context, yes, I do agree that it actually happens to other people as well, but your sensory may not be so sensitive that I can feel the difficulties of my stomach. So I think if I wouldn't say all normal people are okay, can bear with it, but I would say that it will be more obvious for people with ND's disorder, including autism. So that is the reason I would like to share it. I'm not saying that only autistic people will have this. I'm not saying that I dismiss all other possibility, but as what I mentioned in my very first video, this is just a place that I would like to share my experience. So which I think and I believe it may be partly related to my autistic trait. So back to the experience, when I have indigestion, when people have indigestion, they may feel the stomach is difficult, right? They may feel there are some irregularities in their stomachs and so on. But then my feeling is someone is actually holding my stomach and try to squeeze my stomach or try to twist my stomach. That is how I feel. So even for a normal indigestion where I know the cause, of course if I do not know what caused this to happen, I will get more panic, right? But even when I know the cause why this thing will happen, I will still feel very difficult because of that sensitivity where I'm really sensitive on how my stomach how my stomach actually change and how I feel about my stomach. I am very sensitive on that. So I feel like someone is twisting, holding very tight and try to twist my stomach. That's how I feel. And so whenever I have indigestion, I will have a very mixed feeling, confused feeling, very confused on should I actually eat more things or should I not, should I stop eating? Because the feeling is like you feel a little bit similar to hunger, but you know it is not hunger, right? But then if you do not eat, you are not convinced. Then after you eat, you feel like very full because it is already having indigestion, and you throw more food inside, so it will become more serious in terms of indigestion. So I always have this mixed feeling. But if I don't eat, then I will get another type of sensitivity when I am very sensitive on the feeling of hunger. When I feel hungry, I will actually feel I want to die. I'm about to die. If I don't eat anything, I will die immediately. That's how I feel. So that is my sensitivity in terms of my sensory. And that kind of sensitivity often cause me to have overload because I always feel like it is very serious. In fact, to some ordinary people or to some typicals, we call neurotypicals, to some typicals, it may not be that serious. They may have some way of dealing with it. But to me, it is very serious. It's like my world is about to collapse if I don't do anything. That kind of feeling. And that can be very overloaded. In a way that the feeling itself is overloading, and the thought about the feeling is also very overloading. So that is where I always face problem when it comes to sensory sensitivity. And then it is not it does not end, it didn't end yet, having this kind of indigestion and don't know whether I'm hungry or not, and so on. And it actually bothers me because I do not know whether I should sleep or I should stay awake until I feel really hungry and I eat something, then only I sleep. Because if I'm hungry and I go and sleep, when I wake up, that hunger will actually haunt me in a way that it makes me feel very guilty. Why did you cause yourself to feel hungry towards this extent? And I feel like if I don't eat anything, I will die. And I feel like I want to eat every single thing available. So that is very dangerous. I would say that's very dangerous. That kind of feeling is very dangerous because it will actually make me to have wrong judgment on whether I feel hungry or not. So so I try to avoid this overload by having some food before I sleep, which is to most of the people is not a healthy habit, right? But then to me, it's a must. It's like a survival techniques. If not, I feel like I am about to die. And then again, it did not end in a way that I struggle with this feeling, and then somehow and rather towards a certain extent, not towards a, somehow and rather at that moment, I guess it's because it is about to rain, or there were some changes in the weather, and I felt very hot. Suddenly I felt very hot. I sweat, and that sweating again made me feel very uncomfortable to actually fall asleep. So my brain didn't allow me to sleep, so I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep, thinking about whether I should eat, thinking about whether I should actually wait, whether I should do something for the indigestion, and thinking, should I on the aircon, or should I remove the blanket, or should I actually remove my clothes or something like this. A lot of thoughts in my mind, and even though I have a lot of thoughts, I couldn't make any decision because my thoughts were tangled up, right? So that kind of overload. Just a sharing. And eventually, how did I make myself asleep is that eventually when I went around these thoughts, suddenly I felt hungry. So I've eaten something. I've eaten 3 pieces of biscuits. So I kind of convinced myself that yes, you can actually go and sleep. Convince my brain, to be more precise. And then I on aircon. After I have eaten something, I can make some decision maybe. And I decided to on aircon. And then I on aircon, and then I switch on the air conditioner, and then I feel better, much better. But very fast after that, I felt very cold. I felt very cold, and then I have to off the aircon again. And then I've decided to remove some of the clothes to wear minimal, and put on my blankets. And then without myself realizing, I fell asleep. And then in long term, how did I actually view this thing? Because previously it bothered me a lot. It bothered me a lot, where I actually felt very terrible about all this overload that I have. So eventually, not eventually, I wouldn't say eventually, because I think I'm still adjusting. But now, how do I view all these sleepless nights, I would say? I would think about it as something cannot be avoided in my life, I guess so. There will be days that I will have these difficulties. That is what I keep on telling myself. There will be some days that I have difficulties. and it is okay. I can always fix it, the next day. I mean, if I do not have enough sleep, it's okay. I can do it the next day to actually maybe take some nap if it is available, if I can do so, or maybe to have a good sleep right after. I mean, the next day, so called the next day, the following night. So I can always, I have the option to always adjust my day after to make sure I can actually function well, and to make sure I can take care of myself as well. So that's how I look at it now. And of course, today I can share with you this. Partly I'm not so stressed is because today is a Sunday, so it's not too much on a working day. If it is a working day, and if I have a long day, having a lot of meetings and so on, it will be more struggling. And sometimes at that point of time, if I have this situation, I will see whether I can cut some of the appointments. I can shift some of the appointments later, or I can actually, make myself absent from some of the not so important appointments and meetings, and to adjust my schedule in a way that I can actually take a rest in the middle of the day, so that I can continue to function well for those important things. In my career, the important things are teaching. I think teaching is something that I cannot compromise too much. So because it is fixed, the schedule is fixed, that is what I think is the most important thing. Other than this, I will try to allocate some rest time in between, so that I can go on, right? So that's how I do now. And I also accept the fact that I will feel very, very terrible. It means like my mood will be very, very bad. I also accept the fact. And I sometimes feel very sorry for my partner, because when my mood is very bad, I sometimes will talk to him in a very bad way. So I feel very sorry. But now I will actually tell him first. I'll tell him first that I have this difficult situation last night, and now my mood is really, really terrible. I feel very terrible. I will tell him how I feel. Now that is the strategy I'm taking, and I think it is also fair for him to know my situation, so that he can also adjust. He has a chance to adjust at his side, what to communicate with me and what to interact with me. So it is fair for both parties. And I think I will continue with these strategies, which I think is rather reasonable and rather comforting, I would say. And the main idea is still accepting. I will accept that I will have these difficult stays in my life. Definitely it cannot be avoided, and accept that my mood is bad, and then without the effort that I put in to fix all these things, because if I don't accept, I will try to fix it, right? That's how our brain works. If you don't accept, your brain will try to fix it. You are not supposed, like for example, if you don't accept your mood will be terrible, then your brain will think that you are not supposed to feel terrible, and so you will spend a lot of effort to fix that terrible feeling. So if I accept it, that's how I feel. If I accept it, my brain will stop trying to fix the terrible mood, and then I will have the brain capacity to decide how should I actually go on with my day. That's how I think. So just a sharing to you, and so far I think it works well, and I need to try more. I think I need to try more to actually see whether the acceptance strategy actually works the best for me. And if you also have this situation, if you also have these difficulties, I think you can try to go for acceptance first. I think that is the first steps we can do to make ourselves able to do the rest. that is what I think. Okay, so it's just a sharing, and I do not know how can I hold my camera, so that's the reason I have to put on top of the pillow, and so it looks like this. hair looks like this. Okay, so until now, see you next time.